Hello again. I didn't thank you properly before. Please know I am grateful for your aid.
I'm glad I could help. Tell me, is there any way to see your father?
As an outsider, you will not be able to visit my father's perch without an offering of some kind. Humans are known for their tools and crafts, at least the ones you are permitted to use. Perhaps you could make something for him. I was born 14 years ago, here in my mother's perch. My family has always ruled Flyteria. I wonder, though, if my people could accept a leader who cannot fly. She died 6 years ago. I try not to think about her, but sometimes it is difficult. There are few Flyterians my age in the valley, and they do not share my interest in what is beyond it. How old are you?
16.
I had hoped that, when I am of age, my father would allow me to leave the valley for a time, as he did. I doubt that will ever happen now. Why have you come here?
To obtain a griffin's egg.
You might find that a challenge. The griffins are difficult to approach, and they do not trust strangers. Furthermore, my father will not allow you near them until you have gained his trust. My father is a good leader, strong, devoted, and proud. I only hope I can do him justice when it is my turn, if it is ever my turn. Being the son of the chief is a mixed blessing. What of your father?
I do not know him, at least not anymore. I haven't seen my family for many years.
That must be difficult.
I try not to think about it. It is an honor to discover your chosen, worth the sacrifice, so I've been told. They wouldn't remember me anyway.
I doubt that. This is the only home I have ever known. Few Flyterians ever leave the valley. My father was one of them. Before she died, my mother told me of how father often left the mountains. He was different then, more curious and trusting. She told me of his adventures and his interest in the great structures which stood tall and spun with wooden feathers.
Windmills?
He did not know what they were called or what they were for, but they always fascinated him. Before she died, my mother told me of how father often left the mountains. He was different then, more curious and trusting. She told me of his adventures and his interest in the great structures which stood tall and spun with wooden feathers.
Windmills?
He did not know what they were called or what they were for, but they always fascinated him. I have always been interested in the human town, ever since I glimpsed it from Crag Peak when I was very small. It must sound strange, but I am not angry. I know I should not have approached the town. Losing a wing's like your kind losing a leg. As my father says, some lessons can only be learned through the hardest sacrifice. I never imagined this, though. For letting you into our valley, it was the least I could do. If you can prove that humans are not responsible for these thefts, maybe my father will change his mind about them. You do not owe me anything, except perhaps to learn what really happened to the missing items. When you asked my father whether he had searched for the stolen property, I wondered how humans could get around unseen, unless they were mages. You are a mage, yes?
Nearly.
I've heard about your kind. You are not like other humans. Could a mage have stolen those things?
It is true that some can move about unseen, but those same mages could not ascend your perches unnoticed.
Drop by again soon.
Do you mind if I take this block of wood?
Go ahead. I wasn't sure how to finish it anyway. I tried to make one for my father, but I am unfamiliar with the strange object in the center.
You mean the wheel?
Wheel?
Never mind. Can you take me down to ground level? This scrap looks like it came from a poster of some kind. Did a human really commit the thefts? I should find out where this came from. Can you take me back to the village overlook? They must have come from the Flytarian boy. My fall would be fast enough without a run-up. I'm sure Falk will not mind. This wheel looks broken. May I have it?
You wouldn't take a girl's wheel without compensation, right?
What did you have in mind?
Make me an offer. That seems a fair trade.
No soil for me. The wheel won't attach to the block of wood directly. I'll need some kind of metal pole. Good, blacksmith. Might you attach this wooden wheel and metal pole so that the wheel spins freely at one end? I think he's waiting for me to hand over the items and pay. Is that enough? Thank you, blacksmith. The feathers are not adhesive. I'll need to make them sticky. I noticed your poster about the Biclops weapon. A torn poster hangs by the merchant stalls. The scrap paper most definitely belongs to it. What happened to your poster?
Vandalism! Cirrus Tabin and I were discussing the incoming trade tariffs. The next thing I know, someone had come along and torn it. There's no respect for anything anymore. I blame Miguel.
For a ripped poster?
Why not? That reminds me. I found the strangest thing. Whoever defaced the poster dropped some sort of grooming item. Only it wasn't like anything I've ever seen. It had the handle of a comb, but in place of the teeth, it was curved like a beak. Might be useful if you had feathers, I suppose.
Do you still have this feather comb?
I do, but
Go on.
I hate to ask, but times are tough. What with our lord raising the taxes for the 4th time this year, I was going to sell it to Long.
Are you sure there's nothing I could do to change your mind?
Well, I was deeply saddened when I saw what someone had done to the likeness of my valued customer. I mean, this good person. If you could find a way to repair the poster with the missing pieces, that would be a service beyond measure. They say Miguel is refusing to send any more envoys to the Flightarians. Something to do with cutting back on expenses. He should talk.
A single shred of poster remains. The poster scrap fits well here. Can you take me to Falk's Perch? The feathers are sticky now.
That is a fine gift. Are those my feathers?
Yeah. Sorry.
Do not be. My father will want to know you had my blessing to use them. Hold it still while I scratch my mark into the wood. There. My father should approve now.
You may enter and present your gift.
An insightful gift. My son listens well to his father's tales. What do you call this?
A windmill.
Windmill. Falk is as I was in my youth. Too much so, I think. But the past is dead, as are those who were taken from us. Only the future matters. My people will survive in spite of human and forest folk treachery. As you can see, the evidence held to the light casts the darkest shadow over our human neighbors. Go ahead. Observe the items if you must. You will reach the same conclusion. Humans have been among us, uninvited, bringing nothing but ill intent. 2 items of value only to humans were discovered in separate perches. Nearby was evidence of further transgression. What does it matter what was stolen? That these thefts happened at all is the most pertinent fact. If you must know, they were grooming implements, adornments, small things of that nature. The thefts occurred in separate locations. Condur can take you to those perches. It is home to the unclean, the cast-offs of nature. No Flyterian would ever think to nest in there. If I had the wing power, I would lead an assault on those creatures and put an end to their defiling natures for good. The human town holds little interest to me. The only contact I have with its lord is through his envoys. As it is, we have neither seen nor heard from them in some months. To me, this indicates Magail no longer desires our protection. Should you ever travel beyond this realm, you will find no nobler bastions of purity. My personal life is no concern of yours, human. My son has paid the price for placing trust and curiosity in your kind, and will do so for the rest of his life. I blame myself for his lack of intuition.
The owner was evidently a smoker, and I don't think the Flyterians have taken up such vices yet. The mouthpiece is made of brass. A leather gauntlet with brass buckles and silver studs, made for a smallish hand. A leather gauntlet. Not even our most powerful mages. I don't need it. Can you take me to the perch where the smoking pipe was found? I'll keep it with me. Locked. Probably boring private stuff anyway. Can you take me to the perch where the studded gauntlet was found? The Flytarians are not vegetarians. These scraps of fruit must have come from produce outside of the valley. The Flytarians are not. The wooden post holds up Rolam's stall. The poster scrap fits well here.
Fruit scraps in the Flytarian village. From my stall, you say?
Yes, they were spread across the floor at the scene of a theft.
I am short a few apples and a banana, but I'd wager it was those children who like playing nearby. They're certainly fast.
May I take a closer look?
They went missing from the crate behind me. Wasteland burrower's teeth are said to contain a protein that increases crop yield when ground into a fine powder and used as fertilizer. If you make some for me, your purse will be all the heavier for your effort.
Something is glinting in the light. The fruit scraps in the Flytarian perch likely came from here. Might this brass button have come from the Flytarian village somehow? I should ask around. These are the wares of the fruit seller. These are the... I found this on the ground nearby. Did you notice who dropped it?
No, I'm afraid not.
I found this on the ground nearby. Did you notice who dropped it?
Let me see that. Ah, that's the insignia of Iginor. Anyone enacting official duty on behalf of Lord Magile wears a uniform adorned with identical buttons.
Do such important people grace your stall with their presence?
Every day. Why do you ask?
I'm investigating a theft.
I had no idea mages concerned themselves with the trivialities of us lesser folk.
They don't. These thefts occurred in the Flytarian village, possibly by lesser folk, as you say. Do you know who might have dropped this particular button?
Oh, well, nobody comes to mind, I'm sorry to say. Then again, I've never paid close attention to those of the favored quarter. No sense feeding one's envy.
If there's a connection between the displaced fruit and button, I may find it in the Flytarian Valley.